The movement order came across my desk at 0340 hours, and I signed it without reading past page 2. That is the plain fact I have carried since Khyber Pass, not the 8 confirmed kills, not the classified annex, not the 6 hours and 14 minutes. The fact I carry is the weight of a pen moving across a signature line while a woman's name sat 2 pages further in, already struck through in red, and I did not turn to page 3. Her name was Voss. Specialist, attached as a precision support asset on a temporary cross-assignment nobody at battalion had fully processed. The colonel called her administrative support, not a trigger puller, at 0415 formation in the staging area at FOB Whitmore, and the words landed the way announcements land in the cold dark before a movement, absorbed, not examined. 31 men in kit, breath misting, nobody arguing with the colonel at 0415. I was standing 6 feet to his left, holding the movement manifest. I had signed the order that made the announcement possible. She was standing at the back of the formation when he said it. I did not see her face. I saw the back of her patrol cap, the stitched name tape across her shoulders, the way she did not move when the colonel finished speaking. She stepped out of the formation without a word and walked back toward the post building. The column formed up. We moved out at 0430. I was at the Tactical Operations Center at FOB Whitmore when the first transmission came in, 0623 hours, 40 minutes after the lead element hit the Khyber choke point. The ambush grid was 441 to 179. 3 days earlier, Voss had submitted a terrain survey of the Khyber corridor. I had filed it under background reference, non-actionable intelligence, and routed it to the S2 annex without reading past the summary. The summary said the most likely interdiction point on the Khyber approach was grid 441 to 179 through 441 to 183, Eastern Wall overhang, approximately 40 minutes out from the staging area at mission pace. I was looking at that summary when the radio broke open with the lead element's contact report. Grid 441 to 179. Eastern Wall. 41 minutes out from the staging area. I did not move from the console for a long time after that. The transmissions came in broken and fast. The lead element was pinned. The second vehicle was disabled at the mouth of the pass. The colonel was calling for fire support we did not have positioned, calling for air assets that were 40 minutes out, calling for options on a net that had none to offer. Khyber Pass is a single-file approach, 1 lane in, 1 lane out, 300 meters of exposed switchback below a granite overhang on the eastern wall. There is no flanking. There is no alternate route. If the pass is held against you, you wait or you die. At 0638, a second transmission came in. It was not from the lead element. It came from a position designator I did not recognize, a call sign logged as Stone Meridian on the classified frequency, which I had to look up in the annex before I understood what I was hearing. The transmission was 4 words, Khyber East. I'm up. What followed across the next 38 minutes I can reconstruct from the radio log, from the after-action annex, and from what the lead element's sergeant told the debrief. I did not witness it. I was at a console in a prefab building 16 kilometers away, watching a radio net. She had moved to the pass on foot before the column reached it. Her terrain survey had identified a secondary approach, a game trail that cut up the eastern face of the ridge below the overhang, not on any military map, noted in her survey as confirmed passable solo, unloaded, 45 minutes from FOB Whitmore staging. She had walked it in the dark, while the column was still in final prep. She reached the overhang position at 0611, 12 minutes before the lead element arrived at the choke point below. She had surveyed the position 3 days prior. She knew the angles. She knew the distance to the mouth of the pass, 380 meters to the nearest entry point, 620 meters to the bend, and she had noted both in the survey that I filed under non-actionable. The interdicting force numbered 22. She had that from her surveillance of the approach corridor, also in the survey, also non-actionable. What she did across those 38 minutes was not a single moment. It was a sequence, patient and methodical, the way you work through a problem when you have already solved it on paper and are simply executing the solution. The lead element sergeant said the fire from the overhang was the most deliberate thing he had ever seen, not rapid, not panicked, intervals between shots that felt almost considered, each one placed with a precision that told him whoever was up there was not reacting but working. He said the force at the mouth of the pass could not locate the position. The overhang gave her the angle and the shadow both, and she had chosen it 3 days before any of them arrived. 8 confirmed. 38 minutes. The remaining 14 withdrew from the pass mouth at 0701 and did not return. The Colonel began reversing the column at 0658, 3 minutes before the withdrawal, when the radio net shifted and it became clear the choke point was opening. The column completed its reversal and cleared the approach by 0720. All 31 personnel extracted safely. Stone Meridian held the Cabra Pass position until 12:44 hours. 6 hours and 14 minutes from first contact to the moment she walked off the ridgeline and down the game trail, unassisted, in the same boots she had climbed up in before dawn. She came through the FOB Whitmore gate at 13:39. I was standing near the TOC when she came in. She looked exactly the way she had looked at 0415 formation, patrol cap, plate carrier, the stitched name tape across her shoulders. She was carrying her rifle in a two-hand grip, muzzle down. There was dried sweat on her jaw and dust in the creases of her sleeves, and she was walking at the same pace she always walked, which was the pace of someone who had already decided where they were going before they started moving. The Colonel called the debrief at 1500. The classified annex came up on the briefing screen at 1531. It was the full personnel file, cross-assignment records, evaluation scores, certified distances, the branch qualification record for solo position hold, and the call sign on the cover page, Stone Meridian, assigned by a general whose name was 2 grades above the Colonel's. The Colonel read for 4 minutes without speaking. I stood in the doorway of the TOC. I had the movement order in my left hand. I had taken it from the file when I saw the annex loading, some reflex I could not name, as if holding the document was a form of accounting. Her name was on page 3, struck through in red. 2 lines below my signature on page 1. When the Colonel stood, he did not call the room to attention. He pushed back his chair and walked the full length of the briefing table, past the S2 captain, past the fire support officer, past the empty chair where the S3 sits, which was my chair and which I had vacated to stand in the doorway, and he stopped in front of her and came to full attention and rendered a formal salute. She returned it. One clean motion, elbow level, held the count, brought it down. The Colonel held his a moment longer than she held hers. Nobody in the room moved or spoke. Not because anyone commanded it. Because there was nothing to say that was not already said by a colonel standing at attention in front of a specialist who had walked up a game trail in the dark and held a mountain pass alone while we were on the radio asking for options. I still have the movement order. I transferred it from field bag to office bag to the bag I carry now, which is not a military bag, because I am not in the military anymore. The paper has gone soft at the folds. Her name is still struck through in red on page 3, 2 lines below my signature, and I have never once looked at it without reading all the way to the bottom of the page first, every line, every attachment, every annex. It takes maybe 4 minutes. Voss taught me that 4 minutes is enough time to know what you are actually signing.